It is time we as a human race answered this question honestly. How can we put food on the table for all? In other words, ensure food security for everyone. We may use missiles to face threat from outside, but it is really food that comforts us in every situation. Having food on the table means we find the food that grows easily, is low cost because it can grow everywhere, that's easy and gentle on resources, that keeps us healthy. Food that can feed us today and many generations beyond. Ensuring food for everyone on the planet is also about food management systems used. What this means is who controls seeds and decisions like what to grow, how much to store, what is the plan for distribution, and how far the food travels. The thing to understand is whether local food varieties, grains, vegetables, plants are allowed to flourish, and farmers and local communities have an important role in deciding what they want to grow and eat. It is time we get concerned and ask if the food system is low cost, gives easy and quick access to food both in war and peace. Is it one that is sustainable? We can get answers very easily by looking at what we are eating and see if it checks off all criteria for food security. The foods that we have been focusing most on in the last 100 years or so is wheat and rice. The largest portion of food that most of us eat through the day today is either wheat or rice or both. Now let's see how wheat and rice do on the food security score. Wheat and rice use billions of dollars worth of pesticides and synthetic fertilizers. The reason why soil fertility has eroded worldwide, and we notice loss of taste in fruits and vegetables today. Wheat and rice are guzzlers of natural resources as well. Did you know that 8 to 10,000 liters of water is needed to produce 1 kg of wheat or rice? This is an important reason why water resources are depleted all across the globe. In India, in Punjab, the cradle of Green Revolution, there will be no water in 16 years to continue growing wheat and rice. Most varieties of wheat and rice that are grown have been genetically modified and endanger health. It is also no secret that wheat and rice increase blood sugar. They are both linked to rapidly rising diabetes. Disease is a natural outcome of such voluminous consumption we see today of wheat and rice. So with huge demand of fertilizers, pesticides and water, eroding soil fertility and rising disease, how does wheat and rice score on food security? Now let's look at the management system that controls crops and farming practices. Today we have a central authority with policies that favor growing wheat and rice in select areas and shipping it everywhere. The centralized system has been pushing heavily farming of wheat, rice, along with corn and soy in the last several decades. Corn and soy farming is driven in large part by need for animal feed for the rising meat industry. Along with imbalanced crop choices, the food management systems are driving use of a well-known endocrine toxin, glyphosate, to put in both seeds and soil. The rising trend in farming of wheat, rice, soy and corn has gobbled more than 1 million square kilometers of land in the past 2 decades. Where did this land come from? Yes, many forests have been cut and turned into cropland. As we are losing forests, we are heading towards catastrophic climate change. How climate change? Because it is forests that primarily do the job of removing carbon from the air and storing it in the wood, plant matter, and under the soil. With such monumental scale of deforestation, focus on a handful of crops and ignoring local food varieties, we are losing biodiversity. Healthful grains and plants are getting sidelined, even going extinct. With huge needs for resources and no seed control, farmers' debts and dependencies are rising. These are huge costs that we are paying for growing these crops, but subsidies offered on them hide these costs. Storage is an impractical and expensive option. So with political instability or war, areas get shut off and become inaccessible for shipments from far-flung places. So with a centralized management system, with focus on just 4 or 5 major crops that guzzle resources, promotion of pesticide and GMO technology, looming climate crisis, depleting biodiversity, rising farmer debt, no food access in case of war, what kind of food security do we have? So how can we have food security? Millets, which are C4 grasses, is the perfect answer to food security. Padma Shri Dr. Khader Wali's groundbreaking work for over 2 decades proves this without a doubt. Millets can grow everywhere. C4 grasses come with genetic mapping that helps them survive easily in 10 to 50 degrees temperature range. They are ready to harvest in 3 to 4 months. They do not need any fertilizers and pesticides and in fact restore soil fertility in 3 to 4 years. There are many varieties of millets. Restoring these ancient grains as a key food will restore the lost biodiversity and build a vibrant ecosystem good for us and the health of the planet. With millets, we don't have to cut down forests. In fact, we can restore the ones we have lost. While 1 kg rice can be eaten by 5 people, 1 kg millets can be fed to 10. Millets are very light on water resources and need 40 times less water than rice to grow. No ecologically disturbing dams are necessary with millets. If Punjab switches entirely to millets, it can have food for another 600 years, even more. In fact, it can feed the entire country. Also important to note, millets can feed 3 times the world population today. Since every region, including barren lands, can grow millets, every place can become self-reliant. No long-distance transportation or shipment is then necessary. These ancient grains, with their high fiber content, give 100% glucose balance. Dr. Khader's research clearly proves that these grains reverse and prevent diabetes and in fact many other conditions. How do small millets then score on food security? So what can we do? The answer is staring us in the face. What about the government? Here are Dr. Khader's suggestions. Missiles may protect us from outside, but millets is the answer to internal security and global hunger problem. They are our sustenance for the future, just as they were for several centuries in the past. If the hunger is taken care of, perhaps there may not be any need for missiles.